come at the king, you better get in line. Stand there shaking, waiting for your turn. The media clouds on for the attack, but I stand 6 feet above the ground, because you can't keep a good man down. Come on, take your best shot. Pump my fist, give me what you got. 'Cause you can't keep a good man down. Come on, take me to my grave. I'll rise again and again and say, you can't keep a good man down.
Congressman, you teased for us last week that something might be happening with the mayor of Nashville. Now, I know Tennessee to be a very patriotic red state. It's one of those states that just goes, like as soon as the polls close, goes right for Donald Trump by 50 points. But apparently the mayor of Nashville has got himself into a little bit of a problem here, is playing with fire with ICE and criminal aliens. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so what a mess of a story, right? In the fact that you've got ICE doing their job. They're literally deporting illegal immigrants. And these are the folks, to be clear, that they're targeting, have been targeting in Nashville were murderers, rapists. They all have priors or deportation orders. I mean, these are not nice folks, right? These are violent individuals, drug traffickers, child traffickers. I mean, yeah, again, not people you want in your community. Just a few days ago in Brentwood, a suburb of Nashville, you had a Chilean gang, masked, et cetera, was arrested because they were serial burglars in the suburbs. I mean, this type of thing is coming to Nashville. And so now you have the mayor of Nashville who's come out and said, hey, without calling Nashville a sanctuary city, he's trying to make Nashville a sanctuary city. And so we said enough. I said enough is enough, called him out on it. And, this idea that the city of Nashville would somehow impede ICE or federal law enforcement. You had a state representative, a Democrat, member of their General Assembly here, who used her vehicle to block ICE vehicles. And she put on her own Instagram, which she has since deleted most of her social media, that she was able to delay 4 ICE vehicles. So this has really escalated. So Homeland Security, Judiciary, we have a letter that drops today where we're going to be investigating the mayor of Nashville and Nashville itself to see if any federal funds went towards aiding and abetting illegals.
Yeah, I mean, if you're blocking ICE agents from doing their job,
yeah, that's right there.
Right, you have a member of Congress, right, who's being now hopefully going to be federally prosecuted and put in prison for doing a similar activity.
Right. She assaulted, so I'm on the Homeland Security. Kristi Noem was in committee, and I asked her, I said, obviously, Congress, we have an oversight responsibility here, Homeland Security oversight responsibility. Does that give us the authority or the right to storm a detention center? And she said, no. Does that give us the authority or the right to assault a member of federal law enforcement? And she said, no. And then, of course, I brought up the congressman who's on that committee, by the way, the Homeland Security Committee. And, she's got 2 charges against her, I think, for assaulting a federal member of federal law enforcement. I think you have a mayor up in Minnesota somewhere that's been charged, or as a judge rather, for abetting an illegal. And we'll see what happens in Nashville. But this story's been getting a lot of attention, and it should, because these are the worst that society has to offer. They're here illegally. Their very first act when they came into this country was an illegal act. If you're working without a social security number, that's illegal. If you have a social security number that was illegally obtained, that, of course, is a crime. I mean, the list goes on, and yet you have these woke mayors, these activist mayors who are defending illegal criminals over their own citizens. And I, for one, and it's sad, quite frankly, that it's a member of Congress that is stepping up to say, I'm going to make Nashville's streets safer. Next, I'm going to turn my attention to Memphis, which is the murder capital of the country, and say, we're going to take back our communities. Enough of these criminal gangs that have infiltrated our country and our state from Central, South America, and Mexico.
Yeah, come on, man. Let's have some respect for Elvis's legacy. Come on. Yeah. All right. Well, good. And I love visiting Nashville, and it's an epicenter actually for conservative media and for conservative thought and culture creation. And it's so sad actually that the city votes blue. It'd be really nice to flip that. It's happening all across the state of Florida with big cities, and I really hope that it happens to Nashville. So the Committee on Homeland Security, I wanted to ask you about your interactions with Kristi Noem. I want to ask you about something that is particularly in her purview as she sits over the Secret Service. And the American public is like, what the hell, man? We've gotten absolutely nothing about any of these assassins that took a hunk out of Trump's head and that nearly changed the course of, destroyed Western civilization, frankly. If they deliver an on-air execution of Donald Trump, I mean, the country descends, I think, quite frankly, into civil war. It's really bad. Praise God that it didn't happen. But maybe it's like incumbent on us to have a little urgency in figuring out, who is this guy talking to? Who is he communicating with? Why don't we have any information? You're on the Department of Homeland Security Committee. They have everything. They're over the Secret Service. What's going on with that?
So far, we've not received a briefing on the assassination attempts, plural.
But that's insane. That's crazy, right?
Well, to be determined. That's one of those, and quite frankly, that's something that I can request to see if there's any information there. Then you have, your previous segment, on Jeffrey Epstein. Again, if there's video there that shows no one else in the cell block, I mean, his cellmate was built like a tank. I mean, come on, my money's on that guy. I mean, holy cow, looks like he could choke a door to death. But that being said, I mean, let's just admit what happened. Air the laundry to the American people. So you restore trust in the government, because that's one of the problems we have now. That under the Biden administration, you had illegality across the board. You had weaponization of the Justice Department. People don't trust their government. Citizens don't trust their government, and we've got to restore that. And that just takes time. Part of that would be to divulge what really happened to Epstein. Let's talk about the alleged shooter. American people can handle it, right? And like you said with the J6 files, just release the information, let us go through it, let us digest it. And then, again, you're building trust as we go forward. And we've got to make sure, we got to get back to this idea that justice is blind, that there isn't two systems of justice, that the Biden administration really solidified, codified, if you will. But we've got to tear that down and get back to this idea that where there's going to be transparency, we're going to give you the information that we know when we have it. I mean, that's how I became a member of Congress, is during COVID. I fought back against the nonsense. I had a regional hospital and a regional health department under my purview. And as soon as I had data that was pertinent to the people in my community, but then it became a regional thing, I was releasing that information, and I became a trusted source of truth for people. And that being said, and so when I ran for Congress, I won a 9-way primary by 11 points. Was outspent my last primary by 4-1, and I won by 15, because I'm just no nonsense. I tell people what I've got, and you can take it or leave it. Okay, so here's no nonsense. Here's a photo of Matthew Thomas Crooks right before taking a hunk of President Trump's head off on his phone. And he's talking with someone, or he's texting someone. We know that he had a bunch of apps. Have you ever seen this phone? No, not at all.
Okay, so you're on the Homeland Security Committee. Have you ever asked for his phone?
We have not. I have not.
So have you ever asked for like his emails or his communications or anything?
Well, what I'll say is, going forward, that this is something that
wouldn't it be nice to know, like, who the F he was talking to, like, who was radicalizing him, or what? Like, was it a Fed? Was it Iran? Was it? I mean, who knows? Right? Like, was it the Communist Chinese? Was it Ukrainians? Yeah, right. Like, wouldn't it be nice to know that? We know that the dude who's on trial, Ryan Ralph, was requesting Stinger missiles from Ukraine in order to shoot down Trump's plane. That seems like an insane. It's like, wow. Well, maybe we should look into that. Like, was the Ukrainian military trying to kill Trump?
Well, I mean, who wakes up on a morning and says to themselves, "Oh, I'm going to reach out to the Ukrainian groups, radicals, whomever in Ukraine, and ask for some missiles"? But no, this is certainly something that I can request. If I get any traction there, I'll let you know. Okay. But it's one of those. If you don't ask, sometimes you don't get. And as a member of the Homeland Security Committee, I'll certainly ask.
Chrissy Nome, when we asked her about this, said, we're not sure if he was working alone. And I was like, wait, really? That's crazy. Well, I will can we get some information on that?
What I will say about the secretary is they have been going through a mountain of information trying to sort through these types of cases, and it just takes time. We sometimes kind of get into the CSI mode where we expect the wrap of the story in 55 minutes, and it's just not going to happen. But that being said, sure, I do have faith in the secretary that if there's something there, that she'll let us know about it, even if it's in a confidential setting, so that we're apprised of it, then we can reassure the American people. But that being said, I have no fear or qualms about asking for the truth and pursuing the truth in any of these matters.
Right. Well, we'd love to work with you on the damn phone of Matthew Thomas Crooks? Do you even know where it is? Like, where is it?
Yeah, I've got zero information on this
like,
case.
It's like, wouldn't this be probably one of the, like with John Wilkes Booth, you'd kind of want to know what he was doing right before he shot Lincoln. Like Lee Harvey Oswald, you kind of want to know like what his motivations are. This would be a great piece of evidence for the American people to understand like what the hell was going on with this kid's head.
That's right.
Okay. Do you have like a toxicology report for Matthew Thomas Crooks? Have you ever seen anything like that?
Literally, we've been presented nothing. Of course, our priority up to this point has been securing the border.
Yeah.
And so I just received a classified briefing on the gangs that are operating in the United States, which is they're not gangs anymore. People have to understand they're more sophisticated than the mafia ever has been in their ability to surveil, counter surveillance, their trafficking routes. It's amazing. And so that, quite frankly, has been a large part of our priority. But that being said, I agree with you. Let's find out the truth. Let's see if this kid was working alone, then fine. Let's show people the truth. If he was working with a foreign entity or foreign state, then let's reveal that truth to the American people. Again, let's rebuild trust. I mean, when you look at the FBI, the Secret Service, these are storied institutions that at one point most little boys aspired to be, that you pretended to be as a little kid, right? And now I think they're stained because of this failed Biden administration. And so we have a tremendous opportunity to restore that trust. But part of that is releasing this information. Understanding it takes time because they're going to dot their I's and cross their T's. I understand that and respect that. But it never hurts to give people, and you say, hey, look, we're working on this. Here's where we are in the case. Here's our expected timeline. And again, just reassure the people that you're working on it. But I totally get where you're coming from.
Well, right. Like it's the seminal moment that everybody will remember where they were when they heard that Trump was shot in the head, and we've heard nothing. And you said that no one's even asked for the questions. No one's even asked, like, give us the toxicology report. What drugs was he on? What medications was he on? Who was controlling his brain? Who was frying his brain? What does his cell phone look like? What does his text messages look like? What's his emails look like? What's his porn habits look like? Like, seriously, crack the whole thing up. It's like, crack the whole thing up and let us see the inside of his bedroom. What was he looking at? We know he donated to Joe Biden in progressive causes one time. So, like, that's it? That's all we know? Yeah. And so it seems like they're trying to JFK this thing, where they're trying to, like, bury it, and it's insane.
I'll push back on that. I think, there's an ongoing investigation. We've seen the preliminary information, most of which is in the public purview. But I also understand they've got a lot on their plate, but we'll push.
Why'd they cremate the body? They cremated the body faster than a household pet, faster than a goldfish.
Yeah. And so
goldfish that dies, like gets Matthew Thomas Crooks got cremated faster than your goldfish, for your 3-year-old.
Yeah, but I mean, you raise an interesting point. So what was the process? How did that happen so quickly, considering that this was something that literally could have disrupted Western civilization? And what forces were at play? And who are those folks? And are they still in our government? Because that's the other thing. We start peeling back the layers, is that you have the deep state is real. They don't like you. They don't like me. And the biggest fear that anyone should have is that if you have a change in administration and suddenly swings back hard the other direction, that deep state is still there and waiting. It's ready to pounce. And so we've got to uncover. So part of that is who hid an obfuscated truth about Epstein or the shooter or assassination attempts the laundry list is long, and we got to root those people out. It's like cockroaches in the night. Shine a light on them, and so that they'll scatter, and we can get to the truth and the bottom of this. And again, we've got to restore trust. Man, these institutions, we've seen J6. They literally weaponized against the American people. You've seen some of the folks and like the Chrisleys that were 12 and 7-year sentences. I don't know the specifics of their case, but they were specifically harsh relative to the alleged crimes and those sorts of things. And so, again, had they been a woketivist, a BLM member, an Antifa member, they would have gotten a slap on the wrist. Because they were conservative, Christian, and white, the hammer was dropped on them. That kind of nonsense has to stop.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you'd be a hero to this show and this audience if you figured out why this was less than 12 hours after Trump takes a bullet to the face. Less than 12 hours, the FBI is power washing the crime scene. What the F, Congressman? Right. What? Okay.
That's not power washing. That's called sanitizing. They're cleaning up a mess, and maybe of their own making, quite frankly.
Yeah. That's what the American people want to know, and we can handle it, right? Like we can take it.
Sure.
Okay, just one final thing on the Secret Service, because this is in the news. So Homeland Security oversees the Secret Service. It's technically overseen by you, and there was a brawl outside of Obama's house.
Yeah.
It's a brawl of these Secret Service agents. It was like really, it was world star stuff.
Right.
And now we've heard that they've been put on leave. But it's begged the question: is there still like rampant DEI inside of the Secret Service? Since you're on Homeland Security, you clearly want to know this because it led to kind of the overarching problem, right, with Trump getting a bullet to the face.
Well, I mean, you saw with his detail that was protecting that day in Butler, Pennsylvania. I mean, one of the body individuals, like, so the body person is someone who literally stands in front of the president to protect them from a bullet. Well, the president's 6'3". One of the agents was all of 5'8". Look, you don't have to be a genius to understand that math doesn't work. It's not sexist. It's not racist. If you're not 6'2" or darn close to 6'3", you're probably not going to be a body man for the president of the United States who's over 6 feet tall, right? Like, you've got to have some big individuals. But that being said, but you see it with the Secret Service. You've seen it with the FBI. We've seen it with air traffic control, where they were systematically setting aside white male applicants and only hiring other. And even if they had available spaces and there was no other candidates in that pool of other, they still would not hire the white applicant. And so what we've seen across the country is you have individuals largely coming out of the military who have air traffic controller training, wanting to come to work, and they're qualified. They could walk into the booth today and start working. And they're like, you know what, we're going to wait just in case we have a DEI hire who, quite frankly, isn't capable of doing the job. And so this has been a systemic problem that, would have happened under Obama, but the Biden administration, and this is the thing, and quite frankly, scary, of who was really running. So this is another question that has to be asked. This is another question that has to be uncovered. Who was really running the country under Joe Biden? Because we know it wasn't Joe Biden. Chief of Staff, Jill Biden. I mean, you go down, who was that cabal that was committing, quite frankly, treason and running this country, but also all of these, the DEI and the military and these agencies and weaponizing the government against the American people, they did that. And they did it to you, and they've done it to me, and they've done it to others because they don't like us. They want to reshape this country into a version that isn't the America that our founders set forth to create and successfully created. And we've got to fight back, which is, quite frankly, part of the reason I ran for Congress.
Well, Congressman, we have it looks like you have some tough questions to ask. But
it's
again,
gonna be busy next week, right? I was like,
that's right.
A laundry list of things to get done.
Well, there just doesn't seem to be anybody leading on this issue, and they put in, Congress has a little committee there, but we haven't gotten any answers. We've gotten absolutely nothing, and now we just find out that Ukraine is supplying Stinger missiles to go shoot down Trump's plane. It seems like a problem for us. I mean, I don't know. We might be an outlier here, but it seems like that's not where our tax dollars should go, because Lord knows we paid for those missiles. So,
but I mean, again, you keep on the layers, right? Like, how does Ukrainian radicals or whoever they are have a pipeline to the criminal underworld into the United States that some kind of lone wolf could make contact and even make that request? That goes back to the classified briefing that we were just received on the cartels out of Mexico and the gangs out of Central and South America. Their operations that have been allowed to be set up and fester in this country are frightening. I mean, shoot, they've got a global network that rivals FedEx. I mean, come on. And so that happened under Joe Biden's watch. And so there's a lot to unpack here. And quite frankly, when you look at some of these agencies, as they try to root out the woke and they try to retrain individuals that can actually do a job, they've got a mountain of 4 years of casework that wasn't done properly that they're trying to go through, which is why you see some of these delays with Epstein and some of this other stuff. That being said, I'm happy to lead the charge, to write letters to the secretary asking for an update. If nothing else, give us a brief. Tell us what you have, what you got, what's the forecast of when this might be concluded, and then the unclassified portions of that, I'm happy to come back on and share with you in the audience.
Okay, well, good. Yeah. Why were the Lady Ghostbusters dispatched to protect Trump? on that
Right.
specific day, right? Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way, but yeah, I get it. I see what you see.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Melissa McCarthy can't holster her weapon. You can holster a couple coats. I have a strange throwback here from my executive producer, the great ALX, showing you
All right.
doing the coat check actually at a inauguration gala, I believe. And so we just want to say thank you for your service. You man of many talents here.
Well, it was one of those situations where, again, they were, I don't know if it was understaffed. I don't know if it was DEI, but they couldn't find you know what, from a hole in the ground. I said, you know what? I just walked up to him and said, I'm a member of Congress. I'm going to help you. And I started walking back and grabbing tickets, and suddenly we whittled through the line. But at some point, you just got to grab the bull by the horns and say, we're going to get this done. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do with some of these cases that you mentioned.
All right. Yeah. Hey, very good. I have a feeling that finding the damn cell phone of the Trump assassin should be as easy as finding the coat here at Coat Check.
Hey, I'm guessing that there's a little ticket number that goes with it as well.
Yeah.
So let's get that ticket number.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, well, thank you very much, Congressman, and we appreciate it. Here's the Congressman's social media, rounding the corner on 60,000 follows, making a lot of news. Has a bill out to get Donald Trump a third term. We're in support of that, and we just want to say thank you, Congressman, for being on the show. Look forward to some barbecue with you in Nashville one of these days.
Hey, just say the word, and I'm there.
That's right, my man. Thank you, Congressman.
All right, goodbye.